Welcome and thanks for tuning in to this episode of our Dissected series brought to you by Fantic. Today we're going to be diving into the Brose powered 150mm rear travel XTF 1.5 carbon. Fantic has made a name for themselves since the 1950s, building and designing motorcycles, but don't let that fool you. They have a dedicated team and facility with their one goal in mind, building eMTBs. Fantic offers the XTF 1.5 in 3 different builds. There are 2 aluminum framed options that share the same components but are differentiated by the drive unit. The All-Track features Yamaha's PW-X3 drive unit that produces 85 Nm of torque with a 630 Wh battery, while the other Brose edition has a Brose S-Alu motor producing 85 Nm of torque, also with a 630 Wh battery. Our model, the 1.5 carbon, sees a 5.5 pound weight reduction compared to its aluminum variants. Our 1.5 carbon frame option receives upgraded components, bringing its price to $4,890 in its stock configuration. The stock wheels on the 1.5 carbon are aluminum roadie-ready blackjacks. Our model on test has Mavic Crossmax SL carbon wheels, which come at an additional cost in an aftermarket upgrade. Fantic runs a dedicated e-bike facility where every model is designed, tested, and assembled in-house. But they're not just slapping their name on any generic frame. Backed by over 50 years of motorcycle engineering experience, Fantic is creating e-bikes that are truly and uniquely their own. With a lineup of 11 different models, they've got something for everyone. All right, enough fluff. Let's dive into the details, kicking it off with the drive unit. Our XTF 1.5 carbon features a Brose S-Mag 36 drive unit, delivering 90 Nm of torque with 720 watts of peak power, 250 watts of continuous power, giving you a 410% boost in rider assistance. The overall weight on this drive unit is 6.17 pounds or 2.8 kg. This belt-driven drive unit has been around since 2018, but has received significant running model changes, improving both durability and efficiency. The handlebar remote shows both remaining battery life as well as power modes, with a rocker button to toggle between assistance levels. This 36-volt 720 Wh battery is easily removable from the frame and can also be either charged on or off the frame using the Rosenberg charge port. Inside the battery, there is 40 individual lithium-ion cells. Additionally, the bike comes with a 4-amp fast charger. This battery design was used to help keep the center of gravity lower slung on the frame, improving its ride quality. The bike comes in sizes small through extra large. Our size large here weighs in at 50.3 pounds with those upgraded Mavic Crossmax SL wheels. While the front triangle is fully carbon, Fantic has opted for an aluminum seat stay. So diving into some of the geometry, this size large has a 466mm reach. All sizes feature a 456mm chainstay, a head tube angle of 66.5 degrees, a 73-degree effective seat tube angle that also stays the same across the entire size range. Stack comes in at 629mm, rounded off with a 1,238mm wheelbase. Riders can opt for either a 29 or 27.5-inch rear wheel using the frame's integrated flip chip. All Geo mentioned here is in that 29-inch rear wheel option. Delivering this 150mm of rear travel is Fantic's very own full float system. In the full float system, the shock is not attached to the frame at either end. The upper shock mount is on the rocker link, while the lower link attaches at the chainstay. Essentially, this is a linkage-driven single pivot, but with a floating shock not attached to the frame. This design allows Fantic to easily tune the kinematics by modifying the dimensions within the rocker link. This design ethos is shared across all of Fantic's longer travel bikes. This 1.5 carbon here behind me retails for $4,890. To kick it off, let's start up front with the fork. Delivering that 150mm of travel is a RockShox 35 Gold RL fork. Out back, nestled in that full float suspension system, is a RockShox Deluxe Select Plus. This build features a SRAM NX drivetrain with an SX cassette. SRAM also covers the brakes with their Guide T4 pistons, both front and rear, with a 200mm rotor up front and 180mm out back. The dropper is 125mm switch components SW. Our build features Mavic's Crossmax XLs. This is Mavic's top tier carbon XC wheelset. They are wrapped in a Pirelli Scorpion Pro Wall trail tire, both front and rear at 2.4 inches wide. The 760mm bars and 60mm stem are both featured from FSA. Full details on each model can be found on Fantic's website. All right, so with all the details out of the way, let's dive into how this bike feels out on the trail. When it came to getting the bike ready to hit the trails, it was a pretty straightforward affair. I opted for 120 PSI in the fork with the compression dial almost dead in the middle. I ran the rebound one click from fully closed. I should note I was nearly 30 PSI over the recommended pressure to achieve the ride feel I was after. This was with the one factory token installed in the fork. In the shock at 27% sag, I landed on 173 PSI with 4 clicks from fully closed on the rebound side. The damper was left in the open position as it is just fully open or fully closed. This netted a solid mid-stroke support without losing too much small bump sensitivity. Tire pressure lived at 27 out back and 24 up front. The 720 watt-hour battery had plenty of capacity for 4,000 feet of climbing in its highest assist mode. The drive unit buzzed peacefully in the background and was not obtrusive. It only increased in sound at lower cadence with high load. The drive unit's feeling was natural and predictable, with the initial bite rolling in smoothly, which at times had me wishing for a little bit more power, but there was plenty to be on tap there should you get that cadence up. Overall, I really enjoyed the Brose drive unit. The bike pulled me up almost everything I pointed it at, with the only issue being the rear tires, little tiny knobs, not really having enough bite to really dig into the soil here at Beacon. It's pretty loose over hard in sections, but we also do have a lot of rock slabs, and this rear tire did an awesome job at getting grip on those rock slabs. One of the only real issues to note here is the 125mm dropper. As you can tell, I have daddy long legs, and 125mm just doesn't cut it for me. The full float system does limit the amount of insertion depth you have for a dropper, and running 180mm fully slammed still is a bit lower, but is much more comfortable than this 125mm that comes spec stock. Descending on the XTF 1.5 was a hoot. It balanced support when pressing into the bike with small bump sensitivity very well. While the frame may look a little unconventional, there is no mistaking how well the full float suspension design does through rough terrain, even with just 150mm rear travel. The bike's 50-pound weight was handled nicely, and even with the long chainstays, it was agile enough to play around. The long chainstays may keep you from jibbing everything you see, but it does provide a very centered feel on the bike. One thing to note here on this spec is the guide brakes. These are brakes not built with the racer in mind, but with that said, it did not stop me from riding down any trails that I normally frequent here at Beacon. Just have to be a little more cautious with those braking points. Overall, the 150mm of full float travel out back did a great job of balancing both sensitivity in the rough and then also mid-stroke support when you're pressing into it, pulling for a gap. So, who is this bike for?
I think somebody just kind of breaking into the scene, wanting to get out and spin laps. It's a good entry-level type bike for someone trying to kind of get into mountain biking early on.
Would you say, obviously our spec level here isn't the highest spec, would you say that someone getting into the sport could grow with this bike and upgrade?
Absolutely. I've been riding out here for quite a few years now, and I feel like it was handling everything I was doing pretty well. So I think someone getting into the sport and growing, it's got plenty of room for them to kind of build a good base on.
If you're looking for a bike that's comfortable in a variety of terrain conditions, no matter your skill level, the XTF 1.5 is a solid option. The easily swappable and efficient battery means you can be out all day with no range anxiety to be had. Big thanks to Fantic for making this Dissected episode happen. I've got a few more bikes in the garage from them, and I got a really fun idea with one of them coming up here soon. If you have any more questions about the Geo, build kits, and other models available, check out the article at thelomewolf.com or Fantic's website. If you have any specific questions about the bike we have here, go ahead and drop them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer those. And if I don't have the answer, I will reach out to Fantic and get the down low from them. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so, as it really helps keep the channel growing and it gives us the ability to bring you fun projects just like this one here. And until next time, we'll see you all on the trails.